For the Smash Our Stash collaboration this month, I smashed a ton of scraps. So let's see what I did with them. Hey guys, it's Beth. Welcome. For Smash Our Stash collaboration this month, it was a free choice month, and I chose paper scraps because if you've been following me for the last couple years, my scraps have been out of control. And then, I don't know, even though I feel like I'm trying to manage them better, they still seem to continue to grow. So I chose scraps this month. This is a collaboration, and there is a hashtag in the title above and then in the description box below the video that if you click on that hashtag, it will take you to the other participants in the collaboration who have videos for this month. If you find that the hashtag is bringing in some weird things when you click on it, there should be an option at the top to refine your search to hashtag only, and that should narrow down the list because sometimes it pulls in some really random stuff. But be sure to check out everyone else who participated because everybody got to choose their own stash item to smash this month. So like I said, I focused on scraps and I did a variety of projects. I have some cards that I made from scraps using some sheet loads, and this is kind of a continuation. I think it was for Joy of Blue I started working on these and then ran out of time and kind of finished what I could and then decided to save the rest for Smash Our Stash. So I chose 3 sheet load sketches. There's a February 2023 sheet load because it uses a bunch of strips, which I have a ton of those in my stash. March 2023 also used smaller strips and pieces, so I thought that would be a good one. And then April 2023 because it used like bigger piece and then a strip. And so this one kind of used like a good mix of pieces from my stash. So I've got a lot to show you guys, so I'm just going to kind of flip through these quickly. I also tried to pull in some die cuts that I've made like in the last year or so from my stash. And these were all things that I had made from scraps. I had punched die cut from scraps. And then in some cases I pulled in some white vinyl stickers that I'd made from scrap vinyl as well. So just kind of a variety of themes. It just depended on what I happened to have in my stash to work with. Inside, I also do always put additional scraps. So that's just another way to use scraps. Brought in a quilled embellishment that I had left in my stash as well. So that is my batch of cards that I made using the sheet loads. And then I decided to challenge myself to make some scrapbook pages out of scraps. And I've done this before, primarily using like bigger scrap pieces, and that's how I started out. But then I got towards the end, this was one of the last layouts I did, and I'd used most of my bigger pieces of scraps, but I had so many little bitty pieces. So I decided to just take these little bitty pieces, like this was kind of a Halloween themed layout, and so I just took Halloween patterns or coordinating Halloween colors, and I just pretty much left them the size they were and just kind of put them together on the top and bottom to make a border. Added my photos, and then since there was so much going on with all the different little pieces, I tried to keep my embellishments fairly simple. So again, I had in my die cut stash these Halloween words that I had die cut out of some orange scrap at some point. And then I found some stickers, and in one case I ran out of the @ sign in the stickers, and so I had to draw my own. But this was at our children's museum, the Indianapolis Children's Museum, and so I just abbreviated it because no way was I going to find all of those letters, nor did I really have room for all of that. And then I also added journaling. I used up, my mother-in-law had given me this pack of white die-cut ghosts, and so I did use up what was left in there. And then this was a sticker from the museum that I just added on. This was a pre-made Halloween embellishment, but I didn't really like the pattern that was on. It was a cupcake liner that I had added a scalloped black scallop circle and then some patterned paper on the center, and was just kind of treating it like a flat rosette. But I covered up the Halloween print paper, and then I ended up having to trim down the cupcake liner to make it fit, but it was just a way to kind of use that sticker from the museum and showcase it. So a few different variations. This one just has less pictures. I used some bigger ghosts and then a bigger die cut. This was a purchase die cut from my stash, and then again with the ghosts and the pictures. So it really did use up a bunch of these little Halloween themed scraps. I really did go through quite a bit of those. This one I used a bigger scrap and then pulled in some smaller burlap pattern scraps just to kind of add more of that homemade, homespun touch, since this was about a craft show. Found some foam thickers in my stash, and it worked out perfect that the letters took the whole top of the scrapbook page. And then I wasn't really sure what to embellish with, so I just found some random things in my stash that talked about, you know, following your dream or doing what you love, you know, taking a chance, things like that. Since this was kind of like the beginning of, this is probably the second, well, this is the second year that my husband and I did this craft show together, and it was right before we actually started our official business. So that's kind of where the theme of that went. And then I decided to focus on, I started with my bag of scraps that's kind of like the multicolored paper. So it may have a whole bunch of different colors going on, because I thought that would be a good starting point. I can pick out, you know, a piece or two from there and then find some more solid or single tone pattern papers that I can work in with the multicolored paper. So I started with the dog. I had some dog prints. So this is just multicolored paw prints, brought in a brown and a green color to go with it. And then just went through and was trying to use up some of the random dog stickers or embellishments that were in my stash. So it's kind of a hodgepodge, but again, these were two big pieces of scraps. I know this one actually looks like an 8.5 by 11, but it's not. It was just a big piece that was left over from a 12 by 12. And then this was a smaller, like not quite 8.5 by 11. I must have taken just a little bit off and then stuck it in my scrap bag. But again, was trying to use up some random stickers and die cut from my stash. And then this was a scrap vinyl sticker that I made for myself. And then we're going on to birthday. I had some birthday themed scraps, and so I tried to pull some of those together and then found some coordinating pattern paper that, like non-birthday paper, that worked well with it. On this particular layout, I used up these happy birthday letters. They were all part of this Jolie's, kind of like a title pack. And then just brought in some really old stickers, birthday stickers from my stash as well. Again, if you're new here, I have 2 daughters and I scrapbook for all 3 of us, like physical scrapbook pages, because I love it. And so you will a lot of times see multiple variations of the same event because I'm making pages for all 3 of our albums. So on this one, I kind of changed it up a little bit. This one's actually a 2-page. No, wait, sorry. These 2 go together. So I did the happy birthday as my title, but then I also used the celebrate chipboard to kind of decorate on this side, more of those little letter stickers that were birthday themed. This one, different birthday paper, another 2-page layout. And I also used some balloons that were in my die cut stash from when I had been playing with scraps at one point. Used a bunch more of those birthday letter stickers. A random, I think this was a piece I had punched out of a birthday card somebody had given me. And then did bring in a 4x6 cut apart card that was in my stash. This I just pulled in. I liked this scrap for these pictures. There wasn't really a whole lot of color going on, but I just liked the variety of colors in here. And so then I found some oranges and yellows, and then for scraps, and then brought in some brown wood tones, and then just kind of more orange and yellow in my embellishments. Again, trying to use some of my punched and die cut shape stash. Same event, just kind of a different layout, different journal card that I pulled in. My title is a chipboard word this time. So those are the layouts that I did. And then I decided I wanted to focus on using up strip scraps. I had so many strips, just, you know, left over from cutting things down. There were just a ton of strips. And so I went through and pulled out all of the strips that were at least 4 to 5 inches long and then less than 3 inches wide, and added the pattern paper ones to pieces of chipboard I had in my stash. So these are pad cover, you know, backs. Sometimes I use the fronts. And then these were like I used up some of the bits and pieces of chipboard or the smaller pad covers that I had in my stash. I really cleared out my chipboard stash, especially of the scraps as well. But I just took my pattern paper, used some wet glue, added the strips on, and then took a bone folder and burnished them down really well so that you didn't have like ridges from the glue showing. And then I tried to glue on the non-white part of the pad. So it was either see if I have a good example of like this one. It was either like the front that had the pattern on the patterns within the pad showing. So like this was the front cover of a pad, or I just did the back cover and then glued on like the plain cardboard side of the chipboard. So these are the ones I haven't had time to trim down and finish off, but I have a stash already. I have so many bookmarks. So these are the patterned paper ones that I took I have a big 12 by 12 swing arm, a guillotine trimmer, I guess you could say. And I don't use it very often, but I do use it for this because it's kind of older, and so it's not really precise cuts, and it's not always like a straight, it's kind of wonky, but it's great for this. And because I'm cutting through chipboard, it's easier to use that than it is my normal like slide blade trimmer. So I just trimmed them all down, rounded the corners, added a hole in the top, and then I just need to come back in and add my tassels. But ton that I've already cut, plus this whole stack that I still need to go through and trim down and round corners and punch. Here's some more that were in this other pile. And then I also took pieces of cardstock that were, again, at least 4 to 5 inches tall and less than 3 inches wide, and turned them into bookmarks as well. And then since they're more plain front, I'm going to go through, like I've done a few, but I need to go through some more. Going through my punched and die cut shapes and just kind of adding them to the front of the bookmarks to give them some interest. So like these, I started with my circles, my smaller circles. I did some stars, flowers, and I have so many flowers, like I can work on that, on the flowers probably forever before I run out. And you know, I have these left that I still need to do, but I also pulled out some stickers that I thought would be great. I have some kind of like masculine keys that I thought might be fun for like some of these masculine patterns that are not super detailed, you know, add a little fun interest to those. So I don't know, I'd say between this and the pile that I still have yet to finish off, that I've probably got over 100 bookmarks made from scraps. And it was a really quick process, you know, just kind of assembly line, gluing all the pieces down, and then would let them dry overnight and then come in and start cutting down the chipboard. So I feel like I still have a good amount of scraps left, but for the first time in a long time, with all of these projects, I feel like I have made a dent in my scraps, and then I might even be able to combine colors. Like maybe do red and pink and orange and yellow in bags instead of having one bag that's like overflowing for each color. So I know you've seen me work with a ton of scraps this year already, but I feel like I'm finally making a dent, making a difference. So still have a ways to go. You're still going to see me work with scraps, and we're never really done with scraps because we're always generating more scraps as long as we're crafting. But that is my share today. So I feel really good about this month. Please be sure to, again, check out that list of the other participants within the hashtag to see what else everybody else used. I'm so excited. I love the free choice months to see, you know, what people choose and then what they decide to do with them. So thank you guys so very much for your time today, and hope you all have a very crafty day.